Enid, Oklahoma, from the wheat fields to the economic, social, medical, and educational hub of Northwest Oklahoma. Enid is a safe, economic place to live, work, and raise a family. A city with an entrepreneurial spirit. Enid is a community overflowing with boundless opportunities, building an original heritage, and pulsating with a vibrant quality of life. Now join Steve Kime as he brings another exciting program highlighting our great city.
Hello, my name is Steve Kime, and welcome to City Connections. As Director of Public Relations and Marketing for the City of Enid, I have this weekly opportunity to highlight various individuals and departments within the City of Enid. My special guest today is Kevin Friesen. Kevin made his home here in Enid, so Kevin, welcome. It's good to have you today. I know you are one busy guy, so thank you for spending a few moments with us. I know you have this marketing, graphic design, branding background, but if you would tell our viewers a little bit about yourself and how you got connected with this Enid branding project.
Right. Well, thank you, Steve. I really appreciate being with you today.
You're
welcome. You know, I grew up in Enid and enjoyed my childhood here, and then moved on to Kansas and attended the University of Kansas in Lawrence. Graduated there with a degree in design from the School of Fine Arts.
They play basketball up there.
They
Is
do.
that school?
They
okay.
do. That's that school.
Just clarifying.
You bet. And you know, shortly after college, took a few odd jobs, and then decided that I'd go ahead and strike out and start my business. And so in 1994, I started my company, and based out of Topeka, Kansas. And we basically, grew from that point in time. Lived there, my wife and I, and when our kids were a little bit older, we began looking at possibly moving back here to Enid. It just was very attractive to us. Our family was here, and so we went ahead and expanded the company and opened a second office here in Enid. And so we provide, graphic design services. We provide web and interactive and those types of services. And about a year and a half ago, I was approached by the Enid First team to take a look at possibly helping them rebrand the city of Enid. And I'd worked with a couple of those organizations. Many of your viewers are probably aware that there's 5 organizations that are part of the Enid First team. And I'd worked with a few of them on their own marketing, but they approached me and said, hey, would you be willing to help lead us through a process of rebranding the community? And so that's where it all started.
Do you feel like with your background and upbringing in Enid, did that contribute, did that help to the process?
Well,
versus if you were from Los Angeles?
Yeah, it was very exciting for me,
okay.
Because this was something that I'd not really ever done, is be involved with, a community at this level before. And so it was very exciting for me to be able to get to know some of the players behind the scenes, those that really have invested themselves in the community. And I think it was valuable in the fact that, I have a stake in it too. I knew that I needed to, do whatever I could under my power to be able to help this thing to be successful, because I'm living here as well.
In my own professional career, I think I've heard logo so much, or many more times than branding. And for our viewers, is there a difference when people think of maybe marketing or some type of identification to an organization? They may think of logo, but there is a difference. Can you kind of clarify that?
Yes, there really is. I like to think of branding in kind of 2 forms, and that is that it is, first of all, the promises that a product, a service, a company, or in our case, a community, it's the promises that that entity makes to their audiences. And so it's the things that they say, we will deliver this. This is the experience you will have. Okay, this is what will happen if you partake of our product, our service, or if you come and are part of our community. But secondly, it's also kind of that personality. It's that thing that makes something kind of attuned to our senses, something that makes you emotionally attached to it. And so there's, many of us that have certain brands, if you will, that we really enjoy. And a lot of times we have an emotional attachment to them. In my case, I love Apple computers, and I have an emotional attachment to it. I'll pay more money because of that.
Let me ask you this. You were talking about maybe the personality or the connection in regard to branding, but what are the key branding basics, if there are 2 or 3 that really must be considered in the development of a brand, or are there basics?
Right. Well, yes. I mean, I think in our case, as we worked with the Enid First team, we really started off by looking at the history. We had to look at the history of the community and say, what are the things that nobody can deny are true of us? And so we were able to look back, of course, at the land run and some of the other significant events that had happened in our history. It was fascinating, Steve, for me to be able to go to the History Museum here locally and just kind of look at some of those events that had happened over the course of Enid's history and be able to say, wow, there's some key kind of ingredients and what we called personality traits that we were able to kind of draw out and say, wow, those things are true of us. A couple of those is that we, found out that there's kind of this adventurous spirit, that is running through our community from the very beginning. And so we really kind of anchored a lot of what we did on that. And then secondly, there's this real entrepreneurial kind of vibe, that's going on. I mean, from the very beginning, people came here, some for land, but many people came here and followed those who were coming for land. They came here because of the opportunity to be a doctor or to open up a stable, or to do those other things. And so that entrepreneurial bent, if you will, is certainly very strong, and we see it all over today.
When I moved to Enid late November, 1st December of last year, and was kind of late getting to the game of understanding all the effort and all the background and the culmination of efforts for the Enid logo to be in place. But I remember when I was first introduced to that logo, one of the things that caught my eye was, of course, the blue and the black colors. It was just kind of comforting to me, or attractive for my eyes. But I noticed that stake, and I thought, oh, that must be a land run deal. And this is before I asked any questions about the logo. So we see this logo on our water towers. We see this on our cups. We see it on our caps as well, and on the side of our city, our trucks, and just really all over the community. Can you just kind of share with our viewers about the logo and symbolism, if that's the right word to use?
Yes. Well, certainly, we spend a lot of time on the team kind of working through some of these things and saying, how is it that we could take some of these kind of that brand essence that we had created and those promises and some of those things that we just talked about, how can we take and illustrate that? Because a logo is really more like a brand identity. It helps you to visually identify, those things that are true of you. And so we spent a lot of time on it, and certainly one of the most obvious things would be the eye that is also the stake. And what's really important, and maybe some people notice this and don't, is that you see the stake, but right underneath it is the ground line. And those two things work together in the sense that Enid was in fact born overnight and kind of rose out of the prairie, if you will, overnight. And so having that word Enid above that ground line and having that stake, right there in the middle really speaks very much to our beginnings. Now there's other things that are part of it that you may notice. One of the things, as I'm looking at that pin on your jacket, is that we have kind of that blue sky and those clouds at the top. And there's a stylism to that, some kind of an element that we're using in other places. But that blue sky kind of talks a little bit about that type of thinking, that positive thinking, the boundless nature of what our community is.
There is something about a blue sky and optimism, maybe?
Yes, definitely. And that's been a part of who we have been for all these years. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it's always that way with everyone, of course, but it's an aspirational quality. It is true of us in many, many ways, and we're also aspiring to be that even more. And then if you look at the flag itself, there's a number of things about the flag. There are 3 stripes, and if you look at it, it's a very stylized E, and it's extending beyond the boundaries of the logo itself. And so again, that idea of breaking ahead, and of pushing forward. It is also waving, and so we like to think of our community as having energy and that we're a dynamic place. And so all of those things, I think, work together, hopefully, to communicate, like I said, some of those basic qualities that we're trying to say about ourselves.
You're doing a great job of communicating the theme behind the logo. And you said boundaries. I understand that one of the taglines or tag words, if you will, is boundless, and we want to talk about taglines and their significance. Our guest today is Kevin Friesen and on City Connections, and we'll be back right after this.
Hello, my name is Eric Benson. I'm the city manager for Enid, Oklahoma. We're located in northwest Oklahoma, just a short drive from Oklahoma City, Tulsa, and Wichita. We're the economic, social, medical, political, and educational hub of the area. Not only do we have the largest retail trade center in the area, serving a customer base of over 200,000 people throughout northwest Oklahoma and southwest Kansas, But we have a diversified economy that continues to provide jobs for the people of the area and opportunity for future growth. Oil and agriculture have always been major components of Enid's economy, but we've diversified our industrial base, and we're the home of many nationally recognized corporations. Enid is a safe and economic place to live. It's a great place to work. It's an even better place to raise a family. Our air is clean, our lifestyle refreshing. We have all the amenities of a large city, but we retain the friendly atmosphere of a small town. So if your company is thinking of relocating, I hope you'll consider Enid, Oklahoma. I promise you'll find a community that is overflowing with boundless opportunities. We're building an original heritage, and we're pulsing with a vibrant quality of life. Learn more about Enid on our website at enid.org or call me at 580-616-7246. Hope to see you soon.
Welcome back to City Connections. I'm Steve Kime with the City of Enid. Thank you for being with us today. Our guest is Kevin Friesen. Kevin, let's talk a little bit more about the logo. And before the break, I mentioned something about taglines. And there are the words boundless, vibrant, and original. So tell us a little bit about taglines, but then more importantly, these particular words.
Right. You know, I think that taglines are very important from a marketing standpoint, okay? But they don't necessarily always have the same life cycle or lifespan, if you will, of a logo. And so I think they're very important that you have them and to use them if possible. In our case, you know, these three lines are really more about kind of identifying some of those qualities that we want to make sure that we talk about in our marketing. Okay, and so they're really, when we went through this with the Enid First team, we talked about those as being personality traits for our city. Okay, and so there are things that, again, we kind of drew out of some of those basic ideas, and that is that, you know, we are and want to be a boundless community. We are and want to be more and more vibrant, you know, in the way that people see us and the types of activities that are available for our citizens. And we want to also have this original aspect to us, you know, where there's some neat things, whether it be a business that says, hey, I want to base myself in Enid because they support me in a great way, you know, or if it's maybe the new music scene that's been taking place downtown, you know, it's very original. And so those three things together really help to define our brand.
I think those taglines just kind of brings energy, if you will, to the logo. The logo is impressive, but then when you see those taglines, it just really kind of reinforces that message that you talked about. Well, you referred to Enid First a couple times in our interview so far, and I believe that was the Chamber, Main Street, the ERDA group, the Convention and Visitors Bureau, and the City of Enid. So, wow, different groups, different backgrounds, different I want tos. How did you make it work?
Well,
20 words or less.
I'll tell you what, you know, Steve, it was a great experience, and I can't tell you enough how amazed I am at the leadership in these 5 organizations. You know, they all came to the table and they said, you know, we're going to put all of our own ideas aside, and we're going to say, you know, what is best for the city? And it was just really neat for us to be able to come around and say, okay, how can we work and create a brand that we can all embrace? And you're correct in that, you know, each one of those has a very diverse constituency. I mean, we have everything from visitors to citizens, you know, to current businesses, to, you know, possibly new businesses that are moving in, and every one of them has a different kind of set of things that they're trying to find or that they're looking for in a community. And so it was not always smooth, it wasn't always perfect, but it was great in the sense that we were really able to test some of these marketing messages and this brand against those audiences, you know, to see, okay, is this going to fly with all of these? You know, and I just really appreciated, again, the leadership of these teams and everyone that was at the table who was able to give their input from their point of view, but at the same time to embrace, you know, the fact that this thing has to be something that works for all of us together.
If I'm in a different community right now and I'm watching this program and I'm saying, we need to do that. We need to come together as a group, 4 or 5 different entities. So what would you say is the key ingredient to make it happen, to get everybody together?
Absolutely. I think the key is you've got to have a set of passionate individuals who are committed to seeing the process through. You know, in our case, there were many of them. One that I'd like to highlight is Brent Kissling with the Regional Development Alliance. I mean, he very much was able to just kind of lead us in a great way, you know, and he had the passion to kind of get this started and to help see it through. But again, every one of these organizations was able to do that. So definitely passionate individuals who are able to lead and you know, to take some arrows every now and then, if you will, because there were some times when you know, people maybe don't always necessarily agree with things that leaders do. And so sometimes you have to step out and say, you know what, this is the best way of going, and here's why. You know, and I think that we were able to do that in a way that didn't isolate or keep, you know, leave people behind, but instead, you know, brought people along.
I'm reminded of a quote or an adage that if it was easy, everyone would be doing it. So I can see where there'd be challenges to get everybody together, but congratulations, you made it work. And congratulations, excuse me, are in order because I know that this is the logo, if you will, and the branding process has received national recognition. So what is the significance then for a community in Oklahoma, elsewhere, to have a brand that is recognizable?
Right.
Why should they go through this process that the City of Enid has done?
Right. Well, look, I think that the most important reason to have a recognizable brand is because it will help you grow in whatever ways you want to grow. So, you know, you've got to have that in place in order to be able to move forward. And so, being recognizable, sometimes, you know, getting an award is recognition on one hand, but I think the more important recognition that we want to have is that the three most important audiences are citizens, our businesses, and our visitors, that they can recognize it. Okay? And what I mean by that is, do they see the brand and do they believe that it is true? Okay? Are they able to come in and test that and say, yes, you are boundless, you are vibrant, you are original? Okay? Because if they can't, if they are not, if they are testing it and that is not happening, okay, then we're not recognizable. You know, our brand is not out there like it should be. And so definitely, you know, the goal for us, and we've talked about this in the past, the goal for us is how can we live the brand? You know, how can we take and infuse our citizens and our businesses and even our visitors as they come in to be able to identify those things that make our brand unique and say, wow, that is true. That is really true about Enid. You know, I really enjoyed it there because of that.
Right. With what you've shared with me, it just kind of reminds me of the significance of a mission statement. And if a mission statement is on a plaque within corporate headquarters and everybody lives that, breathes that, and carries it out, that's exciting for that organization. And in this light, you would have the logo or the branding with the taglines. And if the citizenry, they see that of keeping the boundless, you know, attitude or the mindset of being vibrant, that would really carry over into so many aspects of the community.
Exactly, yes.
Well, I have one final question for you, being an Enid product and you're still here. How can viewers learn more about your work and really about the branding process?
Sure. Well, certainly if viewers would like to see a little more about us, they can go to our website at friesendesign.com, and we've got, you know, some work up there. We also have a very brief case study on the branding that we did here for the City of Enid, and so they may find that interesting. But, you know, I would also just encourage all of your viewers, Steve, that they would, you know, help us live the brand. Those that are in Enid, that they would do that they would be a part of making that real. And for those that are outside of our area, you know, that they would maybe also just look around and observe, you know, what's happening in communities, in their companies that they're associated with. I think it's very good for us to be brand aware and to understand, you know, what that means to make these promises, you know, and to be able to then deliver on them, and that it does make a difference.
Kevin, thank you for being our guest on City Connections. This has really been enlightening, and I know our viewers are enjoying learning more about significance of branding, but in a closer to home to understand what the Enid logo is all about. So thank you for being with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today for another program on news and events impacting the citizens of Enid. If you have a topic that you'd like to see addressed, feel free to send me an email at thefuture@enid.org. I look forward to sharing another program with you next week. I'm Steve Keim, your host. Make it a great day.